Joining me is the political panel, Cameron Milner, former Chief of Staff to Labor leader Bill Shorten, now Director of GXO Strategies, and Michael Costa, former New South Wales Labor Treasurer. Michael Costa, when I see how much is going wrong under this government, power prices way up, inflation growing again, people going hungry even, the worst productivity growth in decades, unemployment rising, debt growing, immigration too high, interest rates not falling, more and more, it is stunning to me that the opposition has somehow made itself the target for weeks and weeks now.
Well, as I said last week, we've got a double curse here. We've got an incompetent government and an inept opposition. But look, one of the things I noticed today is that clearly the Federal Treasurer has lost his swagger. He looks rattled at the moment, and that's not a good thing. He likes to take credit for things that go well, but when things go bad, he's looking at everybody else to blame. Look, the bottom line is they've got no policies. They've got no direction. They've had summits on productivity. They've had, strategies on Australian manufacturing. And the bottom line is that none of this will work. And the reason it won't work is because they are economically incompetent. I mean, to take a Trumpism, these are low economic IQ people. They don't know how to run an economy. And that's the bottom line. Government spending at record levels, even though I hear the Treasurer today trying to claim that there's no connection between government spending and inflation. Nobody believes that. Then you've got your energy policy, deindustrialising Australia, and you've got Bowen in charge of that. So you've got problems on that front. And then immigration. Andrew, immigration is still hitting record levels and causing problems in the housing market. And finally, the one you raised, low productivity. We had a productivity summit and not one single policy has come out of that helps mitigate the re-regulation of the labour market under this government, which is driving up our labour costs at a time when our energy costs are rising. So we've just got incompetence all round, including the opposition.
Well, Cameron Milner, and thank you very much for keeping the date with us from London now, where you've dropped in again. Cameron, the opposition has made itself the target. I don't know, is that unforgivable? This long debate about whether to scrap net zero, was that the inevitable kind of pain you're going to get and distraction you're going to get when a party changes its mind on such a profound policy emergency, really?
Well, that's right, Andrew. I mean, let's look at the UK experience where I am here. I mean, voters ultimately get it right. And so this Labor government looks like they're high at the moment, massive majority in Parliament, opposition's nowhere to be seen. And yet in the UK, Starmer is actually under massive pressure, because voters have worked him out. Voters have worked out he didn't get elected with any plans, to your point, Michael. Can't run the economy. His Chancellor's about to break their election promise on taxes in 3 weeks' time. This is a disaster. And voters are working them out. So I think in the end, voters always get it right, Andrew. So Australian voters will actually work this Labor government out, that they aren't actually delivering, they aren't actually promising anything, even without the opposition. But imagine the target-rich environment we've got right now, if you had a half-decent opposition, Albanese would actually be under some pressure.
Oh, look, Cameron, I couldn't agree with you more. But Michael, I wonder whether behind it all, the government does know that if the coalition does ever get itself into some shape, which doesn't seem imminent anytime soon, they might be in trouble, because the tension today really turned into a nastiness I haven't seen for quite a while in question time. First, with the Treasurer accusing opposition leader Susan Lee of lying, and then the opposition calling the Prime Minister a liar. Have a listen.
It gives me a welcome opportunity to point out an egregious lie that was being pushed around the gallery this morning on morning media by the Leader of the Opposition. And the Leader of the Opposition said, completely untruthfully, dishonestly, that the Reserve Bank yesterday called out the government's spending.
You are hopeless and a liar, lying to the Australian people. If lying is in order, then lying is in order. This is a liar. A liar. That's what we're debating.
Michael Costa, both sides withdrew their allegations there. What is this telling us, though, about the contest right now?
Well, I think there could be a contest. Look, again, the point I just made, didn't Chalmers look rattled there? I mean, he's got a very technical point saying that the RBA didn't say there was a connection with the inflation and the government spending. But everybody else will tell you in the economy there is a direct correlation between the two events. And you can't deny that. That's just a technical debating point. Look, the opposition, I think, can hold the government to account, but net zero alone, Andrew, is not going to deliver this. They can jettison net zero, but they're talking about jettisoning a policy that wasn't going to come into effect until 2050. And if they don't come up with something concrete in between, they've got real problems. What they should do, I think, is look at pegging prices of power to the inflation rate and have a program of putting gas power and keeping our coal-fired generators operate and announce that. And give a commitment that they're going to do that. In addition, they need to do something with the budget spending. They need to identify where they're going to cut waste. It's not a magic bullet dropping the commitment to net zero. They need to also look at the labour market. Are they going to put reforms back in to give us a competitive labour market? All of those things need to be part of the mix.
Cameron, I very much agree with Michael's point that there's going to have to be a real suite of economic policies, which there weren't before, from the opposition, economic policies. But sticking with net zero, just on that alone, because that's the big topic that's tearing them apart at the moment, can it win the public debate if it scraps net zero, when it will then be fighting Labor, the Greens, the Teals, the media, the ABC, the climate industry and the elites?
Well, yes, I think they can, Andrew, because Peter Dutton did it with The Voice. Remember the elites lined up on Albo's side saying, oh, of course you have to say yes to The Voice. And then finally the National Party broke. And then Queensland, my home state, broke as well. And then the rest of the nation followed 6 months later. So Peter Dutton has absolutely shown the way you can actually stand up to this wokeism, this green elitism that's going on in our body politic at the moment. But you need a leader as strong as Peter Dutton. And Susan Lace shall write that.
Well, that then switches our focus to the leadership, but I'll talk about that later in the show. Michael Costa, Cameron Milner, thank you very much to you both.
Thank you.